lack of desire to reach a deal and of failing to act in good faith. Hamas has expressed surprise, saying it's keen to continue negotiations. The BBC's Tom Bateman has this assessment.
I think in part this is a pressure tactic because they know that Hamas regarded this as their final response to the current proposal on the table. Clearly the Israelis are not happy with it, and in the build-up to this announcement by Mr. Witkoff, it was clear the Americans were going to do something that they hoped would shift the dial. So I think they're still in this process, even though they're pulling their team out of Doha. They are saying that otherwise they will pursue an alternative without these talks.
Recapping the top story, the Gauteng Education Department has advised parents who may experience glitches when applying for grade 1 and 8 school admissions not to leave the page without completing their applications. The department says failure to submit complete applications will result in learners not getting school placements on time. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. SAFM, in collaboration with the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, brings you the Jazz for Young People concert happening at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July 2025. Tune in to Seasons and the soundtrack of your life, broadcasting live. This unique event is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. Bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz from young musicians, curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring National School of the Arts Band, Willow Crescent Magnet School of Music Band, Biko's Manor, and many others. Have fun while doing good. Tickets are available at Quicket for just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
I now know that success is not a remote place. Success is complex and ever-changing, but at its core, it's to have purpose. You see, I took a non-traditional journey to attain traditional success. There are successful people all around us, or you yourself may be a success story. You see, it's never too late to accomplish. It's never too late to have purpose. To triumph in life, there is no exact date. There is no use by label. Success has different meanings to different people. There is no one size fits all. So now I ask you, how will you define your success?
That is Fred Miles, an American Army veteran. A very good morning to all of you that have tuned into the show. It's 11 after 9 o'clock. My name is Cathy Mohlahlana, and you're listening to The Talking Point as we have conversations that move us, and I'll be with you until midday. Well, it is the end of the week. Can you believe it? Where exactly has this week gone? I don't know about you, but I feel like this year has just been flying through. Now that we're getting into the second half, it looks like it's going to be even worse. So if you don't have your mid-year plans in order, please put in those reviews and start changing things. Zelma had made New Year's resolutions, many of them at the beginning of the year. I can tell by the way that she's looking at me that not even one has been accomplished. So, Zelma, you're on 10%. Wow, that's not much better than anything I said, Zelma. You basically haven't started. So if you are like Zelma and you are looking at 10% of everything you wanted to get done this year, I urge you, get onto it, because July is now up. We are fully officially in the second half of the year. All right, coming up on the show, we'll start off with the open line as we always do. I'll be taking your calls on 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial for your open line, 086 000 2032, and on the WhatsApp voice note line 0614 104 107. Well, coming up on the show today in the second hour, we're going to be looking at the childhood play problem that our children in this country are faced with. And this is one of those problems that is not unique to South Africa, but of course, each and every country will have its nuances. And we're looking here at children today who are spending less time moving, playing, instead spending hours, on average, 4.5 hours a day on screen. 4.5 hours a day. That's how much screen time our children are being exposed to. And while you might look at it and think, oh, well, they just like phones. You know, these young children, they're born with a phone in their hands. There are things that we as parents, as guardians, need to be mindful of due to the impact and the challenges that also arise from overexposure to technology. Often those manifest as anxiety, as isolation, as sleep issues, all because our children are being overexposed to technology. So we've actually got a really strong panel that is lined up for you that will look at the various aspects of this issue. We'll be in conversation with a pediatric occupational therapist, a registered counselor, and also one of the leading toy agencies. And they'll be speaking about the importance of playing for young children. So please do tune in for that conversation. And then, of course, it is a Friday. So it's going to be the Friday wind down, and this is what you can expect in as far as our guest for the Friday wind down. Okay, are we ready? Do I need to count you guys down? Hey, you can tell it's a Friday.
South Africa, this is AJ Gent, Mr. Singing Guitar. I'm bringing the singing guitar vibes your way and hanging out with Cathy on SAFM Talking Point for the Friday Wind Down, July 25th at 11 a.m. We are celebrating this music journey, especially the love you've shown for Singing Guitar Vibes, which went viral and hit #1 on Apple Music South Africa. It's about healing, connection, and lifting the spirit. Listen in nationwide on 104 to 107 FM.
Yes, it'll be smooth. It'll be soulful sounds. AJ Gent is going to be joining us for the final hour of the show, and certainly looking forward to that particular conversation that we'll have with him. He's, of course, also done work with not only global artists, but some of our local favorites as well. So looking forward to that conversation on the Friday wind down. So we'll start it off with the open line. 086 000 2032 is the number to dial. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107.
Get ready to brush up on your brightest smile with Dis-Chem's 2+1 cheapest free deals on dental care products. From the trusted Dental Mate to soothing Sensodyne, classic Colgate, and many more. Stock up on all your favorite brands. Get down to Dis-Chem today to enjoy 2+1 cheapest free on the widest range of manual toothbrushes, toothpastes, and mouthwashes. T's and C's apply. Hurry, dental offer ends 17 August, only at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3, and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Mr. Govender, congrats on the retirement. You just sold your car to We Buy Cars. Tell us about it.
Yes, it just gathered dust in the garage, so I exchanged it for cold hard cash. Now my wife and I can enjoy a stress-free retirement.
Retiring the car as you retire. Nice. So why We Buy Cars?
It was so quick. They came over to our house to do the evaluation, and we sold it the same day. Tops, man.
Okay, so now you got even more time on your hands, eh?
Exactly.
We Buy Cars. Geared for your next chapter. Geared for you.
Mzansi, be in it to win it. The Powerball jackpot guaranteed at 92 million rand is up for grabs this Friday. This is your chance at a life-changing 92 million rand jackpot. Don't delay. Play Powerball today and you could win big. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
All right, you're listening to The Talking Point. It's a national roundtable. Remember, everybody has a seat, and you're all invited to be part of the conversation. 086 000 2032 is the number to dial. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. Let me start it off in Midrand this morning. Anonymous, good morning.
How are you? How are you, Cathy?
Yes, I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, man. Cathy, man, I just want to raise some issues pertaining to what is happening within the Construction Education and Training Authority.
Okay.
You might have heard all over the news, newspapers, and the involvement of OUTA about the suspension of people. And these issues have been raised quite a number of times to the previous ministers, Blade, and the recently sacked minister, but nothing is happening. Now there's been a lot of victimization, especially on people who are whistleblowers around these issues. But our government is quiet in terms of dealing with the shenanigans that are happening within the construction sector. Now, we just want to raise it, to make it a point that there's something is happening here. And we understand how the boards were appointed, and then most of the sitters do not have a board. But we can't continue to operate like a ship without a compass, because the man at the helm is the accounting authority and is the CEO. It's just making decisions that are in contrary to the vision of the organization. Now, last week, There were police in the office trying to forcefully remove the head of the HR because they are terminating his contract prematurely because the man has uncovered lots of things that are happening within the city. It does not mean that the higher Department of Higher Education is not aware about these things, but there is no political will to act. The only thing that can be able to happen here, because the CEO, we understand it's a political appointee, inverted commas, but there is nothing that we can do to take the matter to the CCMA because we know that the organization is going to maybe to take it to the labor court using the resources of the organization. I'm appealing to you, Cathy, just to make it a point that the new minister that has been appointed right now deals with this matter because this organization is going to the drain.
Anonymous, speak to me about some of the things that have been happening in the organization. What are some of the allegations that exist currently? And I understand, what you've highlighted in as far as the targeting of the HR manager. But when it comes to then the person in charge who's the CEO, what is it that the CEO is doing that is corrupt, that is irregular, so that at least we're able to have some of that context when we go to the CETA?
Yes, Cathy, what has been reported on the public domain, you might have heard the name, the person who was working at the, how to call this department here, supply chain management, you see, who had uncovered the involvement of the CEO on tenders. You see, these things are on public domain. And some of the issues that were raised, that were taken to the portfolio of Parliament on higher education, the involvement of CEO on administrative issues, you see, instead of trying to deal with issues pertaining to the workers, but his involvement and then his victimization of people that are raising some issues. For the past 2 years, we have lost, you see, 2 acting CEOs, ex-CFOs, people that were trying to make it a point that the organization is operating according to the PFMA. But those people were removed, you see. And also, people were suspended, you see, when they were trying to raise some issues within the organization, you see. Now, when it was brought to the attention of the department, nothing has happened, Cathy. But there's a mess, I'm telling you. It's out there on the public domain. You see, tenders being given to people that are in the close proximity to the person. But that's why I'm saying that the Department of Higher Education, it does not want to address those issues. Workers are demoralized here, you see, because of these things that are happening. Sure. Within the construction sector. Really, Cathy, I think, even today, can I tell you that we have not received our salaries? It's the 25th, because they are trying to tell us about the administrative error that has happened. You see, I think if nothing is being done, you see, this organization is going to the drains, really.
Yeah. Anonymous, thank you for calling in and raising that issue. Incredibly concerning. And you heard Anonymous there. He is talking about some of the developments at the Construction, Education and Training Authority. That's something that we will absolutely have to look into, including the non-payment of staff. What is behind that? And we'll also have to bring in not only the Department of Higher Education, but also reach out to the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education to see what work has been done to try to get to the bottom of the situation. The fact that they had police in the corridors, can you imagine how dramatic that must have been during the week as they tried to remove the HR officer? So clearly, there's a lot that needs to be unpacked there. Anonymous, thanks for calling in and at least giving us your perspective and what you know about the matter. Let me go to Newcastle. Kazozo, good morning.
Kunjani?
Ngiyaphila Kazozo. I'm sure Kazozo is not the name on your ID, ne?
It is. It is.
Really? What does it mean?
Yeah. Heroes will never be forgotten.
It means heroes will never be forgotten.
Yes.
Is that a direct translation?
Yes, the direct translation.
In what language?
Tembe.
In what?
Tembe.
Tembe.
Yes.
Tembe. Oh, okay. Wonderful. Wow. All right, Kazozo. You hero, what do you want to talk about this morning?
No, I just wanted to talk about the celebration that's going to be taking place tomorrow at Kaelisha.
Yes, the EFF celebration.
Yeah. The EFF celebration. Yeah, we just wish that CIC tomorrow focuses on the inequalities that are being faced by our people who are living in Cape Town, especially the ones who are living in the informal dwellers. As we know that Cape Town is regarded as one of the best cities in terms of service delivery, but we do not see that service delivery for us as black people in the areas of Cape Town.
So you want him to mostly talk about those challenges that black people are facing or black communities are facing?
Yes. And if we can also focus on the challenges that are being faced by disabled people, especially in the workplaces. I want to focus more on the blind people who end up being excluded from getting employment opportunities of which they deserve due to our employers saying it's expensive to employ a blind person because of their the gadgets of which we use in an office environment. So we would like our CIC to focus on that as well. Or them as EFF, what changes are they going to bring for disabled people, and how are they going to ensure that blind people are included in workplaces? They are not excluded, because we have a lot of qualified and graduated blind people who end up being excluded from our working environment.
So, Kazozo, tell me, what for you is keeping you a member of the EFF? Why do you support the party? What draws you to the party?
No, Cathy. Cathy, I didn't say that I'm a member of EFF.
Oh, no, I heard you referencing our CIC. I heard you say our CIC.
Commander-in-Chief, at the end of the, that's how they regard to him. So
no, but I get you said our CIC. So when you said our, I thought you're an EFF member.
Ramaphosa is our president, but I'm not an ANC member. Jacob Zuma is the president. I can say to Jacob Zuma, he's also our president, but you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not a member of the EFF. Do you vote for the EFF?
Sometimes I do vote for it.
Okay, all right. So as somebody who has given the party your vote before, this is what you would want them to deal with.
Yes. I would like them to deal with such concerns.
To keep you interested.
Yes, to keep me interested and to make us to create that assurance that there's a certain change that they can bring. You know how they can convince us, because especially we as people who are living with disability, sometimes these political parties they only talk about the increasing of social grants and all of that stuff, our disability grants, but they don't talk about giving empower. How are they going to empower us?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kazozo. And I see here from Dumile, also in Newcastle. He says that you are a musician.
Yes, I am a musician.
A great vocalist and guitarist as well.
Yes, ma'am. I am.
Wonderful.
My music is is playlisted on SAFM and also Radio 2000, Kuko's FM and all of the stations.
Oh, Kazozo, we should have you on the Friday wind down. We are on the list. You're on the list, Kazozo. All right.
You.
Thanks for calling in, Kazozo out in Newcastle. Yeah, you're going to hear him soon on the Friday wind down. Okay, let's take no, this is not a break. Let's take you to the latest news headlines. We'll continue with the open line shortly.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, EFF leader Julius Malema has called for the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to be protected and elevated to the position of National Police Commissioner. More than a dozen illegal immigrants have been arrested during an operation early this morning at the Ginger Informal Settlement in Sandton, led by the City of Johannesburg. And the Gauteng Education Department has advised parents who may experience glitches when applying for grade 1 in 8 school admissions not to leave the page without completing their applications. The department says failure to submit complete applications will result in learners not getting school placements on time. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
The Super Falcons are close to making Mission X a reality. But 2022 finalists, the Atlas Lionesses, are back in the final. This time around, they want nothing but gold on home soil. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the spectacular final between Nigeria and Morocco this Saturday, 26 July at 7:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture, and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis, and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula.
Hi, I'm Khomotso KG Mweketi, and I believe in music's ability to connect, to heal, to remind, and to bring joy. And each week on my Saturday and Sunday show Seasons right here on SAFM, I endeavor to do just that. So join the movement of Seasons every Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's addictive. You might invite a friend. Seasons, only on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide with me, KG Mweketi.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Of SFM, Cathy, it tells you that the nature of politics in South Africa is all about opportunity. They are not good leaders, but politicians. Julius Malema was supposed to go to the Eastern Cape on the flooding side to celebrate his 12th anniversary of their party and talk to the people on the ground and listen to their story of what they to tell, not to go to the Cape Town at the moment. He's such an opportunist. He was supposed to go there as a leader on bad condition as the Eastern Cape is. Brian Mabai from Proteagland. Thanks for the great show.
Morning, Cathy. You reminded me so much now of my niece, who at the time when she was 5 years old, I gave her a book and she looked at it and she turned it upside down, around and around in her hand. And then she started pressing on the covers, back and front. And then she showed it to her mommy and said, "Mommy, it doesn't work." But today, after introducing her to Cocoa Melon and number blocks and alpha blocks in the mornings, she's a reader, not a reader for meaning yet. I'm working on that. I just taught her how to tell the time. She's now 7 years old. Thank you.
Good morning, my princess Cathy. It has been a long time. Great show always with your team in studio. It's Uncle JJ, the truck driver. These days I'm out of South Africa mostly, Botswana and Yemen. Anyway, Cathy, I would like to know, do we still have Minister of Home Affairs here in South Africa? Or a Director General? Because we have ZEP, which are still on outstanding. What is the position? People have paid their money. Is there anything? Are we expecting refunds or what?
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Well, thanks for those WhatsApp voice notes that you've already started sending through. Of course, this is your National Roundtable. I must say, Uncle JJ, it's great to hear from you. It's been a while. Good to hear that at least you're keeping busy. Work is keeping you busy, but stay safe out on the roads. You're right. The ZEP issue is still one of those that needs to be fully clarified by the Minister of Home Affairs. That's something that we can look into getting an update on. One of our listeners who said Julius Malema should have had his rally in the Eastern Cape and visited flood-stricken areas. He did do that last month. I remember him going to Mthatha and seeing the effects of that, the damage of the flood, and then also putting a call out to various agencies, civil society organizations, to come and lend a helping hand to the families in Mthatha that need support. So I think a bit of an unfair comment, as it were, because it's not like he has not been there at all. Klo, you're out in Diepsloot. Good morning.
Good morning, Cathy Liga.
Rona, Klo, what do you want to talk about?
Ke nyaka go bolela mabapi le issue ya electricity ko Diepsloot extension 5. Re na le problem ya transformer e sale e senyega ka di 3 tsa June to date.
Okay, so residents in a portion of Diepsloot haven't had power since the beginning of last month.
Yeah, that's the 3rd of June, the 3rd of June.
And what does Eskom say when you call them?
No, when you call on the Eskom call center, they always give you the same excuse to say now your reference number has been received. A technician will be sent out.
And what happened to the transformer, Glow? Did it blow up? Was it vandalized? Was it stolen? What was the issue?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't vandalized. It just blew up.
And tell me, is the area that you're in specifically, is it one of those areas where residents are bridging electricity?
No, I wouldn't say that. But on my side, I am buying electricity on the outside.
Yeah, but from what you see, neighbors and the general neighborhood?
Look, look, I can't say because, it's something to do with their finances. But I will assume everybody were
You see, Glo, I don't think you're being honest with us.
No, I am, because like I'm saying, I am buying. I've got that.
No, I hear what you are
Yeah.
saying, that you are buying, but what I'm asking is, when you are in the community, whether driving, whether walking, whether in a taxi, dropping you off, what are you seeing? Are you seeing that people have illegal connections?
No, there is no illegal connections. There are no illegal connections because there are overhead wires. They are the ones that have been connected from the Eskom pole to their houses. Clearly indicate that the people have meters.
Okay.
And it's not a squatter camp. It's the RDP section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Flo. Thanks for calling in with that issue. It's an ESCOM-related issue and certainly no satisfaction in that regard. Part of the reason why I'm asking Flo the questions I am is because Diepsloot has been identified as one of the areas that has the highest rate of electricity bridging. In fact, at any given point, they need about 20 to 30, 20 transformers that need to be replaced. And so it is a risk somewhat that Eskom has identified. I think same as City Power for those users that get their electricity from City Power. So my questioning is based on that, and not because I'm in any way trying to be stereotypical about what happens in townships or in informal settlements. Samgele, you are in Johannesburg. Good morning.
Morning, Cathy. To you, to your producer, and to all SAFM listeners. I'm a first-time caller in your show.
Welcome to the show, Samgelo. What do you want to talk about?
Two things, quickly. The issue in the province in Yagiti KZN. I asked Upima Taminduli. This guy has got a proven track record. Esegu Salta, we know him very well. So I just hope something is going to happen. Even though in Amatautiana, because we are the provincial government of what unit and all that. I don't know what do they call it. Point number two, the councillor of what level in Mandela. There is the trending VN whereby Councillor Mthembu is demanding the bribe of 100K from a contractor. I really don't know, Uti, where is our country going to if the leaders are so, and really it's concerning and worrying me. That's the only two things I wanted to air out. Thank you very much.
And the other thing, of course, Samgelo, is that yes, these are allegations. Part of what is said to be the evidence is available on public platforms. But the question is, what is the right thing for the Premier to do in this instance?
Which is true. And due to the fact that they are now in this unity or provincial government of unity, I don't know what are they calling it. I doubt that this time he's going to do something. I know him very well, but this time I doubt.
At the very least, Samgelo, one would think that an investigation into the allegations, in as far as the implicated MECs are concerned, would be a good start, right?
I think so.
Because if they're true, I mean, you just look at the allegations with regard to the agricultural department, that you have an MEC who is accused of literally siphoning off millions of rands into companies linked to family members. There's just, if those allegations are true, the brazenness with which it has taken place is really, really something that it's unbelievable, that there isn't even any effort to cover up what is happening. There's just full-on looting of state coffers.
Yes. It's very, very concerning, Cathy. It's very, very concerning. And for us, I feel for our kids, really. For us, we might be dying in the next 20, 30 years to come, but what is going to happen to our kids when we are gone? That's very, very concerning and worrying, man.
Okay. Samkelo,
thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling in with that issue. Yeah, I think it's a very important issue that Samkelo is raising. In fact, what we may need to do is to have a show that looks specifically at some of the allegations that have been made against the MECs. in KZN who are accused of siphoning off monies from their departments, just so that everybody's brought into the loop in terms of what these allegations are. Of course, there's been a lot sort of flying around on social media and, bank statements, company details, etc., that are said to be evidence of this alleged corruption. But perhaps if we just take a thorough look at it and interrogate it with a more journalistic lens, I think it might help us get somewhere. Bongani, you're in Tembisa. Good morning. Good, thank you. Go for it, Bongani. Hello, Bongani.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller on the show.
Oh, you're first-time caller. Welcome. Welcome to the show, Bongani.
No, okay, I just want to speak about something. The very same thing, Tembisa Hospital once again on the news. Not much. I was there yesterday. The treatment I got from there was
Bongani, I'm going to ask you to try and move around. The line to you is not so clear. So you're saying that you're calling with regard to the Tembisa Hospital?
Yes, I was there yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, the experience I got there was horrible to say the least. The place, just think the place needs a cop overhaul. I don't know. Just let me take my experience yesterday.
Okay, Bongani, I'm going to pause you there. Let's try and get Bongani up on a different line because the current connection to him is not great, and I really want to hear about what he has to say about his experience at Tembisa Hospital yesterday. I've received a message here from Anonymous who's adding to the call we received at the beginning of the show, who says, "Hi, Cathy. Even HR at CETA is corrupt." This is the Construction Education Training Authority. In October 2023, the CETA advertised a financial position. Indeed, the requirements for the post were relevant qualifications and experience. I wrote an email to them and copied everyone in the organization to say, where have they learned this practice of vague job requirements? I asked, who do they want to give the job to? Subsequently, they removed the advertised position and later advertised it a year later. And they wrote an email saying that the position has been rescinded. So, yeah, that's Anonymous there, adding to the conversation around CETA and the allegations of corruption or maladministration within that organization. If anybody else has something to add to that conversation, and I really would say here, a bit more credible evidence, right, that we can work from, please just send that through to us. We'd really appreciate it. You can contact us on the WhatsApp line on 0614104107. You can also come on air on 086 000 2032. We'll take your call to hear what you have to say. But otherwise, if you don't want to be on air, send us a WhatsApp and we'll make contact with you so that we're really clearly able to follow up on this issue. We're going to take a quick break. I'm back with more of your calls.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
This Mandela Month, SAFM celebrates the spirit of Ubuntu, calling on all South Africans to engage, uplift, and do good for one another. Let's share what we have, lend a helping hand, and honor Madiba's legacy through kindness and action. Join SAFM as we bring you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and voices that drive change all month long. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture, and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis, and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula. Call us on 086 000 2032.
Well, we continue the conversation on the talking point. Bongani in Tembisa, you're back on the line. Good morning again.
How are you, Katie?
Oh, there we go. That's a much better line. Yes, you were you wanted to tell us about your experience at Tembisa Hospital yesterday.
Yesterday, yes, it was. I'm just a regular visitor to Tembisa Hospital. And then I had a schedule. I was scheduled for the 30th of June, and I got there. And the biggest mistake on my part was forgetting that I had to go and go for checkup. I just went there, picked up my medication as usual because that's what I normally do every month. Go there, pick up my medication, and come back. Forgot that I had to. That was the day for me to go for checkup and meet the doctor. So when I got yesterday. The day before, I realized that no, I was scheduled for a checkup with the doctor. And then I went back yesterday. When I got there, the nurses did give me another date to come and see the doctor. It was around October. That was no problem because I made a mistake. There was a mistake on my part as well. But what hit me was they denying me the right. I said, yeah, okay, it's fine with the schedule, the date you've given me. But I need to get my medicine because I can't live without the medicine. I was visiting the eye clinic. Are you still with me?
Yes, Bongani.
Yes, I was visiting the eye clinic. I'm getting drops there every month, and I can't survive without those drops. I said, no, okay, it's okay, no problem with the date. Plus, give me a note. When I went to the pharmacy, they said, no, I had to get they must give something and a note or what to pick up my medication because the paper, the note that I had had only allowed me to pick up medicine 6 times, and then we had to go to the doctor, and then the doctor would give me other things to pick up medication as well. So that had expired. I went back. They said, no, you were able to miss the appointment, so you have to go just like that. And then I just want to know if government policy or council health policy to tell the patients not allow them to get medication because they've missed appointment. I don't know if it was punishment on myself for having missed an appointment, but I can't survive without those drops.
Were you scheduled for another appointment?
Yes, I was scheduled for another one sometime in October. All right, that was okay. I had no problem with it. But now I need to get I have to get my monthly supply of those drops because without them I can't survive.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just wanted to know if how can health policy to tell the patients not even give them medication? I didn't have a problem for me not being able to meet the doctor because I had missed my appointment. That was okay.
Yeah, look, Bongani, it sounds like this might be an administrative issue, and perhaps if you had dealt with somebody else, they may have found a different outcome, or at least seen what the best way to deal with the situation is. I would encourage you to go back. I would encourage you to go back to the hospital and see if you can't find somebody else who can help you with the problem that you have, and then sort of be able to reach out after that. Let me go to Zama. Zama, you're out in Rustenburg. Good morning.
Morning, Cathy and your team and all the listeners of SFM. My name is Zama. I'm calling from Rustenburg.
Welcome to the show, Zama.
I'm also a first-time caller.
Yeah, we seem to have a few of those this morning. What do you want to talk about?
Yes, I would like, I need assistance with reporting a private hospital here in Northwest. The hospital's name is Crest. It's under the Netcare Group. On the 30th of April, I gave birth to a child there. And after giving birth, then it was discovered that my son had a maldevelopment, which was called coronary atresia, and he needed to be put into ICU because he couldn't sleep on his own. The child was taken into ICU, tests were done, and then it was concluded that he needed an operation. And then an operation was done by a doctor by the name of Pakwana. He's an ENT specialist on the 8th of May. After the first operation was done, the pediatrician that was in charge is Dr. Mohlahlana came, gave the child some medication, and the child was fine. Then, on the Saturday of the 10th, 2 days after the operation, the child was then, Dr. Pakwana then came again and said he's coming to check on the child. When he checked the child, he found that the nurses who he had instructed to suction the child because the child had things in his nose, didn't suction the child, and then he said that he needed to take the child into theater for a cleaning. That was done on the Saturday of the 10th. However, before the child was taken into theater, it was discovered that the child, they had not done any blood test on the child and on that day, and the last blood test was done on the 5th of May. The child was taken into theater like that, and the theater procedure took about an hour and a half. When they came back, they briefly reported and said to me that the procedure that they were doing took 15 minutes, but the child, the challenge was getting to the child to go under general anesthesia. Then they left, the day proceeded. On the evening of the 10th of May, when we went to see the child with my husband, the child was no longer responsive, he wasn't good, and his steps were dropping. When we reported to the nurses, they were very dismissive and very rude to us, the nurses that were on night duty. The following morning, on the 11th of May, Mother's Day 2025, we walked into the ICU unit, found our child fighting for his life. The pediatrician that was on call walked in and told us that he was not even aware that the child had been taken to theater and that what was wrong with the child. And that he then said that when he saw the child earlier that morning, because he had done his round earlier that morning at around 6 or 5, the child was not well, but the nurses told him that there's nothing wrong with the child. That very same morning, unfortunately, our child died. We went home, buried the child, then reported our complaint to the hospital. They called a meeting with all the doctors, and none of them took accountability. It was discovered also that same morning that the IV line that they put on our child was leaking. One of the reasons why the reason why he actually died is because he had septic shock. So he caught an infection somewhere in the hospital, and they didn't detect it in time. And when we then asked them during the meeting that we had with them, none of them took accountability for any role that they played. They all just said they were surprised that the child died. We then found a medical negligence lawyer to help us with our case. But unfortunately, in cases where a child has died, there is nothing that medical negligence can do because they work with compensation. I then reported the matter to the Health Profession Council of South Africa. I reported Dr. Pakwana in particular because I believe that he was the main player in our child's case. The fact that he took our child into theater without taking blood, he took our child into theater without notifying the pediatrician that was on call on that weekend. And then the HPCSA didn't find him guilty, which I think is unfair. The hospital has not given us any assurance that the nurses that were taking care of our child the night before he died did anything or that they are being disciplined by any manner. If anything, people have just moved on with our lives, and we have to live with the grief of losing our child while he was under the care of professionals in a private hospital in South Africa. So I'm very aggrieved. I just need help in seeking justice for my son. I don't want money. I just need justice. That's all.
Oh, Zama, I'm so sorry for your loss and for your family's loss. And you know, just given how recent this all is, I'm sure it's been a very painful time for all of you. Have you tried approaching the health ombudsman?
No, I haven't. The reason I'm actually calling today is because I only received a communication from the Health Profession Council this morning.
Okay.
Actually, it was yesterday, and it was after I had lodged a complaint on their website, and they never responded to me. So when we spoke to the lawyer last week with my husband, and she explained to us that she cannot assist us, then she said the only thing she can do for us is escalate our matter. And the response that I got from them, or rather we got from them, is that they responded to our matter on the 30th of June.
Okay.
And when I read the letter, they had not responded to me directly. I don't even know where they got those dates from. So it just shows to me that, actually my issue is with the health system in South Africa, because what I've noticed through this experience is that doctors here in Rustenburg, one doctor works in 3 hospitals. What quality of care can you give to patients if you're working in a public hospital and working in 2 private hospitals, and it's normal?
Okay.
We got medical reports from the hospital of what happened on the morning our child died. Our child was dying at 8:30, and it took 30 minutes for the pediatrician to come and to start attending our child. In a whole hospital where there's health professionals, the last point is case. Also, what was discovered is that doctors in that hospital don't even write notes on the patient's files. Only the nurses that write notes on patients' files. What kind of hospital runs where doctors don't account for anything that they do on patients, whereas they're busy claiming on medical aid?
Okay. All right. Zama, I'm going to put you through to our producers so we get more details. I would also urge you to approach the Health Ombudsman and to lodge a complaint in this regard. Again, so sorry for you and your family and the loss that you have all suffered. It's time for the latest news update.
In our top stories, Malema calls for Mkwanazi to be elevated to national duties and dozens of illegal immigrants arrested in Sandton. Good morning. The EFF leader Julius Malema has called for the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkwanazi to be protected and elevated to the position of National Police Commissioner. Malema says Mkwanazi has put his life on the line for the sake of the country. He says the country owes Mkwanazi a gesture of appreciation and protection.
Mkwanazi is a hero. For a man to go outside the established protocols to do what he did was to put his body on the line. That's what a man does. Whether you agree with him or not, it doesn't matter. But he played a very, very important role in exposing the rot, and it is our turn now, as a country, not as politicians, to deal with this matter. The country must pay a closer attention. One, that Mkwanazi doesn't get victimized. Mkwanazi's contract is coming to an end in December. If anything, they must advertise that post now, and then he must reapply and get reappointed again so that he can finish this tax.
More than a dozen illegal immigrants have been arrested during an operation earlier this morning at the Ginger Informal Settlement in Sandton, led by the city of Johannesburg. The operation, which also included Home Affairs, was focused on enforcing bylaws and dismantling illegal informal settlements in designated areas of the northern suburbs. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero.
Well, we've arrested a few undocumented. They're already in the police vans and they'll be taken into custody, and hopefully Home Affairs will then act on them and deport them back to their countries of origin. We are also identifying if there's any other criminal activities that are happening here. Of course, we have established that there's a place where they sell nyaupe, and I think the police are already acting on that. So we'll continue to act, look at illegality, look at criminal activities, but the central objective is to get rid of these informal settlements.
The Gauteng Education Department has advised parents who may experience glitches when applying for grade 1 and 8 school admissions not to leave the page without completing their applications. The department says failure to submit complete applications will result in learners not getting school placements on time. The department has launched the 2026 Schools Online Admission System, with applications closing on the 29th of next month. The department spokesperson, Steve Mabona.
We've realized that some parents will be in the system, and when they're about to upload documents, probably they cannot do that. They need to refresh. Just refresh the page, and you should be in a position to do that. And make sure that you complete the process. Don't leave the system if you are not done, because that is going to be an incomplete application. And once we have an incomplete application, come the placement period in October on the 16th, we will not consider you as a parent.
The ANC will from today convene a 4-day conference and host leadership from MPLA in Angola, Frelimo in Mozambique, SWAPO in Namibia, CCM in Tanzania and ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. The gathering will be convened under the theme Defending the Liberation Gains, Advancing Integrated Socio-Economic Development, Strengthening Solidarity for a Better Africa. The party says it hopes to have a frank dialogue with other former liberation movements. ANC First Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mokonyane says it is also part of the party's renewal process.
This is a good reawakening, and people have been wishing us well. And there's also been a request for observer status throughout the continent and abroad. And the other important thing, there's also been a request to have access to our content documents. And that on its own shows an appetite to make contributions. Those who are angry, some of them are actually saying, why did it take us this long?
And finally, the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She's serving a 20-year prison sentence in the U.S. state of Florida for sex trafficking. Maxwell's lawyer David Marcus spoke to reporters following the meeting.
We want to thank the Deputy Attorney General for being so professional with all of us and for meeting with us. He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
Recapping the top story, the EFF leader Julius Malema has called for the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to be protected and elevated to the position of National Police Commissioner. For SFM News, I am Anne Musa.
My name is Casey Gordon. I'm the Banyana goalkeeper. My favorite music is all over the place. I love listening to all kinds of things, but I'd have to say maybe pop culture. My favorite pet is my cat. I love cats. They're so cute. My cat's name is Bailey. My favorite dish is pizza. Obviously, it's not a great dish as an athlete, but I love pizza. When I'm not playing football, I love to be with my friends and my family, and I love playing netball as well.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. SAFM, in collaboration with the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, brings you the Jazz for Young People concert happening at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July 2025. Tune in to Seasons and the Soundtrack of Your Life, broadcasting live. This unique event is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. Bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz from young musicians, curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring National School of the Arts Band, Willow Crescent Magnet School of Music Band, Biko's Manor, and many others. Have fun while doing good. Tickets are available at Quicket for just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to The Talking Point. Welcome to the second hour of the show. It is 11 after 10 o'clock. Coming up in this hour, we're looking at the childhood play issue problem that we're dealing with as a country. And it really sort of also has its roots, I think, in what is a global phenomenon of children spending more time on screens than they do playing, moving outside. And this also has an impact on how they're able to develop. So we'll take a look at this particular conversation throughout the hour. I must say that call from Zama, was just, it's so heartbreaking, because when it comes to health and medical negligence and allegations in that regard, I find that it's very difficult for people that have been patients or even family members to prove what they believe may have been wrongdoing when it comes to the quality of care that they have received. But more broadly, perhaps we should have a conversation around whether the quality of care we receive in our country is satisfactory, and whether we're looking at private or public institutions. It absolutely is a conversation that we need to be exploring more, because if we are empowered with information and we know what we need to be looking at, what we need to be tracking, then it can also help us in instances where we may need to take matters further, where we're simply not satisfied with the kind of care that we have received. So it's just one of the things that comes to mind following that call. I'll take a couple of your WhatsApp voice notes that you've sent through. Okay, it'll be more than two, so we'll call it a few voice notes that you've sent through via the open line, and then we'll get into our 10 o'clock conversation.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Morning, my sister. You're speaking to Mlefe from Jimiston. My question is why it has become a normal thing in South Africa that our clinics, our hospitals, the service delivery is poor. And it has become a normal thing, because like we all know, and nobody cares, Even if we prepare something in the morning, we want to go to a clinic or we want to go to a public hospital, you just know that, okay, there's a possibility that I might be assisted today, or I might return without being assisted. So why has become a normal thing? Why nobody cares about those systems?
Morning, Kechi. Anonymous here in Tipslot. The guy who's phoning and complaining about electricity problem in Tipslot, Kechi, doesn't want to give you a straight answer, Kechi. I think he knows very well that only 20% or to 25% people of Tipslot are buying electricity. The rest, Katie, they are not buying. So that guy must tell you the truth. He mustn't come there to the radio and tell you lies. I know I'm staying in Tipslot, anonymous. Thank you, Katie.
Hi, SFM. I'd love to agree fully with the caller who was speaking about the challenges that construction set there are many challenges there. Even the learners who are doing learnerships, they are not paid their stipends on time, and there are always issues. Even now, there are current issues with the payment of stipends for learners, the material, and there are just many issues.
Kathy, I've not heard anything in the news. I might have missed it, or in your news, about the story of Amberly Hughes and what she did to little Noor Jade Chalita. The story is so shocking. And I don't know if you guys know about it. It's headline news in our local newspaper. And then I saw something on the internet last night, what Amberly admitted to. If you could maybe try focus on that.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture, and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal musicians Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis, and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Dumelang Mzansi, welcome to the Health Club. This is where we unpack the issues that affect our health, your well-being, and your everyday life.
Arthritis, high blood.
Losing your health is an event that is not predictable.
Organized crime syndicates have infiltrated our healthcare system and has cost the country billions of rands.
Claims that are fraudulent could be anything between 5 to 15%.
I'm your host, Clement Manyatela. This is the Health Club.
Mzansi, be in it to win it. The Powerball jackpot guaranteed at 92 million rand is up for grabs this Friday. This is your chance at a life-changing 92 million rand jackpot. Don't delay. Play Powerball today and you could win big. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Cathy Mohlahlana is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, well, South Africa is facing a crisis in childhood play. Kids are not only moving less, they're playing less and spending an average of 4.5 hours a day on screens. As a result, children's mental health challenges are also on the rise. We're seeing anxiety, isolation, sleep issues that are among the top indicators of the impact of all of this. Now, research shows that just 15 minutes of unstructured play each day can enhance emotional resilience, brain development, and of course, create that parent-child bond. More than just fun, play is recognized as a key driver of cognitive development, creativity, and connection. Now, to speak to us about the importance of getting children and therefore families moving again, Kaylee Rice is a pediatric occupational therapist. She joins us on the line this morning. Kaylee, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Mbali Mashaba is a registered counselor. Mbali, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy.
And Catherine Jacoby is marketing manager at Toys R Us, and they lead the National Day of Play initiative. Catherine, good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
Kaylee, any parent with a child, especially a young child, will tell you, I guess both young and old, right, will tell you just how difficult it can be sometimes to get children off their screens. Whether it's TV, whether it's children with cell phones, iPads, whatever the case might be, technology has not only come to be such a big part of our lives, but it seems like it's taken over our children's lives. Kaylee?
Definitely. I think, especially in the world we're living in and a lot of the modern challenges, technology is a big part of it. And obviously with that comes a lot more exposure from kids from a younger age to different technological devices, whether it be the iPad, TV, cell phones. And a lot of the time it is used as a way to keep our kids entertained or busy or occupied while we get on with a lot of the busyness and chaos of the world and everything we have to do and achieve with that. So, I definitely do understand the challenge that a lot of parents are facing, and it's almost like it often ends up in a bit of a cycle that children are exposed to technology. They often become dependent on it because their little brains are getting this instant gratification and feedback. They're not necessarily having to do anything while they are engaged with that. And then often a lot of the time it leads to more emotional dysregulation when we have to take the screens away, when they don't have that exposure, or they put in situations where they're not able to get that instant feedback that they get used to from the screens.
What is it about this exposure to technology, Kaylee, that is particularly harmful for young children?
I think the biggest thing is that it is taking away a lot of the natural opportunities that children are getting to play. And this is something we're noticing a lot in the clinical and practical setting as well, and is a growing concern. So as screen time increases, physical play often decreases because they are spending their time in other ways or looking at a screen and engaging with that. And we are seeing clear impacts on children's development, both in the short and long term with this. So physically, less movement obviously means fewer opportunities for things like building core strength, balance, coordination, and fine motor skills. And all of these are obviously very foundational for tasks like writing, dressing, and even sitting upright for extended periods in the classroom as the child gets older. Something called postural control, for instance, is the development of a lot of those trunks, muscles, shoulder muscles, arm muscles, and that is what kids really develop through exploring their environments, crawling, climbing on things, whereas when they are engaged in screen time or on devices, none of those muscles are often even getting activated. Kids are often sitting on like a couch or somewhere where their whole body is supported. So there's no activation on any of those muscles, especially in those really vital years where they should be developing. Cognitively and emotionally, obviously, play is how children learn to focus, to manage frustrations, solve problems, and I think often navigate a lot of different social situations as well. And when time on screens replaces play with real people and physical objects, kids do miss out on building these crucial self-regulation and interpersonal skills. And then there's obviously also the sensory aspect, which from an OT perspective, we are very passionate about. Physical play gives children's brains the rich, varied sensory input it needs to organize information and stay regulated. And we're often also seeing a lot of sensory sensitivities in many of our kids because they're not exposed to the sensory input from the environment that they get through exploring and interacting.
What is a sensory sensitivity, Kaylee?
So this is something we see. It can be a variety of different things, but when children are growing and developing, they have a lot of their sensory systems kind of working together to make sense and learn about the world, to figure out where their body is in space and how it relates to the world. So, for example, one of the practical things we might be seeing in a lot of our kids is that as they're getting older, if they're not exposed to different textures, if they don't get the opportunity for outside play and playing on the grass, feeling sand, feeling mud, it can often lead to them being a little bit hesitant and reluctant to engaging with different textures, maybe not enjoying things like haircuts, not enjoying foods of different textures and some of those challenges. Similarly, if kids maybe aren't exposed to certain movement activities like going on a swing, climbing things, being given the opportunity to spin around, what we call their vestibular sensory system is often a little bit underdeveloped because they're not given the opportunity to figure out and understand what movement input their body needs. And then they might be a little bit more cautious to, when they get to school, maybe engage in some of the playground equipment, maybe prefer play that's more like sedentary, where they just sit on the floor, because they do try to maybe avoid a lot of the movement activities more too. And that is also why it's so important for kids to just have the natural opportunity to explore and interact as much with their environment, especially when they're younger, as they can.
Yeah, Kaylee, thanks for that. Mbali, play is something that often I think can be underestimated, can be taken for granted. In fact, there are probably many parents who believe that they're doing their children a favor by giving them devices than just letting them play aimlessly outside.
Yes, this is really true. And I think also see play as a way to keep the kids as a reward for doing something, instead of them actually being a learning opportunity and a personal development opportunity.
When it comes to the role of play in our children's lives, how do you think that we can be encouraging it better, especially within the family setup?
So I think it really is vital for us to really consider how us as parents play a big role in being able to support our kids in their emotional development needs and play. So what would really help is to come up with play opportunities for your child outside. As Kaylee has said, there's a lot of things in terms of their body cognitive development, the fine motor skills, and how even being out in nature helps the child to orientate themselves to the world, see other things in terms of how they relate to other children, learn how to negotiate, learn how to problem solve. So play actually helps children with being able to develop things like resilience, to develop things like, negotiating skills, to even be able to come up with problem solving. And so if parents could also give themselves a chance to integrate play with their children in a sense of using play as a way to engage them in their learning, or even so much as to help them with, gamifying, doing things like chores. But I think the biggest problem that parents also might face when it comes to playing and allowing children to play is
Sorry, I'm going to have to pause you there. That connection to you isn't great, so I'm going to ask that we try and get Mbali back on a different line. We're looking at the role of play, particularly in the lives of children, and how we need to be increasing and encouraging play rather than screen time when it comes to young children's development, as what we're seeing as the impact of the overexposure to technology. It unfortunately has a negative impact on children, and it's something that this conversation will hopefully bring us into better awareness of. It's now 10:30, time for your latest news headlines.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines on SAFM, I am Ondalambana, and a very good morning. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says he will ensure that more raids are conducted at informal settlements across the city in an attempt to root out crime. This morning, an operation was conducted at the Ginger Informal Settlement in Sandton, where more than a dozen undocumented immigrants were arrested. EFF leader Julius Malema has called for the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to be protected and elevated to the position of National Police Commissioner. Malema says Mkhwanazi has put his life on the line for the sake of the country. And the ANC will from today convene a 4-day conference and host leadership from MPLA in Angola, Frelimo in Mozambique, SWAPO in Namibia, CCM in Tanzania and ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Taking a look at your markets this morning, the rand is currently trading at 17 rand 71 to the dollar, 23 rand 86 to the pound and 20 rand 81 to the euro. Markets in Asia were mainly weaker at the closing bell. The JSE is red across the board in mid-morning trade. Markets in Europe have extended losses this hour. Gold is trading at $3,357, platinum $1,402 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $69.73 a barrel.
They both have a rich history of glory. Amakosi tackle the Porcupine Warriors.
This is as good as it gets.
This is the Toyota Cup.
The game you've been looking forward to on your football calendar.
Giants refuse to fall.
The big game.
The big game. On Saturday, 26 July at 2:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus across the entire African continent and SABC One. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport in proud partnership with Kaizer Chiefs Football Club.
Hi, my name is Kutlwana Masote, your host of Weekend Sundowner Classics every Saturday and Sunday afternoon between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. exclusively on SAFM. Now, this is where you get your best classical music jams on any radio platform. Join me every Saturday and Sunday afternoon between 4 and 7 p.m. Weekend Sundowner Classics.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
We continue the conversation on The Talking Point. We're looking at the importance of play in the lives of children. Kaylee Rice is a pediatric occupational therapist, Mbali Mashaba, a registered counselor, and Catherine Jacobi, is a marketing manager at Toys R Us, and they lead the National Day of Play initiative. So, Mbali, before we went to the news headlines, you were speaking to us just about how, as families, as guardians and people who live in communities where there are perhaps children that we're looking after, how can we better be incorporating play into their lives?
Yes, and I was speaking about how we can actually integrate play in a number of ways. So integrating movement in daily life is one of the things that we can do. So maybe doing some active things like walking or cycling, or even adding gamifying things in your everyday routine. So turning your mundane tasks into something playful. Even engaging in family activity, physical activity, like going camping or going outdoors, mountain biking, could really be very beneficial for the children. And I think even engaging in and tapping into using some cultural heritage and identity games would also help your children to identify and be able to see who they are within the cultural context of their lives. So remembering our games that we played as little kids, and also inviting our kids to be part of this, so that we can also impart knowledge, impart some of the memories we've had, but also have it be a tool that can also support our children in developing the various things that Kaylee has spoken about in terms of their physical development, but also in terms of their mental and their emotional development as well.
Catherine, I'm going to come to you in a moment, but before I do, Kaylee, perhaps the part of the elephant in the room for a country like South Africa is that many children are, of course, safer in the house than they are outside. And, allowing children to go out and play in the street, perhaps compared to what would have been done 20 years ago, that's simply no longer an option for many families. Hello, Kaylee?
Apologies, I'm back. Definitely, thank you. I think that is definitely a concern that a lot of parents have is safety. And for true play to happen, the most important priority is that the child needs to feel safe and they have to have a safe environment to be able to engage with and explore, which obviously for a lot of people is difficult, and there isn't as many opportunities for outside play. But I think I would really just encourage parents to give yourself some grace. I know it is hard, and I think there's a lot of pressure put on parents to give their children what they need and obviously support them as much as they can. But I think the most important thing with play and giving opportunities to play isn't necessarily where the play is happening. So yes, obviously there is great value in having like outside play and exploring and interacting with nature. But I think for me, the biggest thing is that children need that sense of connection and just to feel safe and heard. So I would encourage parents to really try and make play just part of their daily routine. And this can be something really small, but just creating small intentional moments of connection through play throughout the day. Things like a small game of like hide and seek inside, or like we'd also mentioned before, just incorporating it into maybe like dinner time when you're cooking food, making it a little bit more playful, getting the kids involved with that. Or, for example, bath time, incorporating that into maybe some water play with your children. Children don't need elaborate activities or constant entertainment. I think the most important thing is that they just need attuned adults who follow their lead, to show genuine interest, to ask questions, and make them feel kind of like heard and just get a little bit more inside their world and what really sparks their joy and excitement. I think that to me is probably the most valuable part of playing. So, yeah, I would really try and encourage parents to focus on quality over quantity and just finding small ways to connect through play in the moments that naturally exist in the day. And this can be such small things, but like sitting on the floor with them, following their game, and letting go of any agenda or too much direction by making them play in certain ways, but rather just following their lead. Because when that intrinsic motivation there and the children are kind of led and self-directed, then that is where where you see the most effective learning taking place.
Yeah, and I think what you said there, Kaylee, is so important that, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be simple, it can be basic, but it is about part of that involvement. Catherine, you, of course, deal and specialize with toys. What have you learned about why so few of our country's children are playing?
Thanks for having me. I think it is such a crisis that we have, that we're all facing as parents. And I also want to just mention that it's not only about the kids. We're actually all kids at heart. And we also need to allow ourselves as adults the opportunity to play and to engage. And we've actually seen an increase in adult toy purchases since the global pandemic of COVID, because there was a sense of escapism that people were going back to, a sense of nostalgic. And, we really need our kids to not be on those screens. And like Kaylee has mentioned, there are so many developmental pros to kids being able to play. And it's not just about them having fun. It's actually a necessity in order for them to thrive as a little human. And that's where we play our role as Toys R Us.
Catherine, just to understand you correctly, were you saying that more adults were buying toys during and post the pandemic for themselves than for children?
Correct. We've seen one of the facts is that 35% of global toy sales are actually bought by adults. So we're seeing a surge in what they are dubbing the audience as a kidult, who are coming back to their youth where they did feel happy, where they could escape to joy. For example, our construction and Lego, you particularly see adults really, buying those toys that they used to play with. We've seen Ninja Turtles come back and, My Little Pony and all those sort of games that we used to play in the 90s. And those categories have really peaked in sales, and that means that those adults are coming back to what brought them the joy in their younger years.
This might be a simplistic way of looking at it, but Catherine, it sounds to me that we're going through a lot globally.
We definitely are.
Is that not part of the conversation that you and the rest of the team have at Toys R Us and say, well, there's definitely something happening in society that, this high number of adults just want to escape or want to find an escape for themselves?
And I think we see it in ourselves. We're all guilty of being on our cell phones and sort of scrolling aimlessly through social media or watching TV. And it actually takes an effort these days to play. And our kids are also watching us on the screen. So they're learning from something. And we also need to be the advocates as adults of play. We need to show them and play with them. And I think Kelly's mentioned that quite a lot, is the connection through play. It's not just about giving them an activity, off you go and play so that I can scroll on social media. It's about joining in on that play and allowing them the freedom and the time with you. Because I think a lot of kids, if you had to ask them, what's the best part of their day? It's when their parent or their sibling is engaged with them. And that's also very important.
The issue we can't run away from, Catherine, is just what seem to be toys that are becoming more and more expensive. And as a result of that, it seems to also limit access into the availability of toys. Now, play can happen with or without toys, but I think because of just how we are socialized to think, we think that, well, if I have a big fire truck for my child that they can be pushing around, then they're really going to be able to enhance their play experience. And it seems that when there are no toys, that kind of play is seen as being less effective.
Yes, completely. And I know that there is that conceived idea around toys being expensive, but like you just mentioned yourselves, play doesn't always have to be expensive or involve the most trendiest or latest toys. It just needs to be more of an intentional decision. So as simple as a balloon or a box. You always find at Christmas that the child ends up playing more with the wrapping paper or the box than the actual toy. And I'm not saying, obviously, I am here to represent Toys R Us, and we've got a wide range of product at various price points. Play is not limited to being to the wealthy, or toys are not, they are not a luxury. They're actually a necessity. And that can be as simple as a 29 Rand ball, or blocks, building blocks, or a simple dolly that doesn't cost a lot of money, that the child ends up forming a relationship with and learns about emotive storytelling and emotional intelligence and empathy. It doesn't need to be the most expensive toy. It's about the toy being intentional, spending the time with the child and allowing them to explore.
Yeah, you're so right. And I've got twins who are toddlers, Catherine. I didn't realize how fascinating a balloon can be to 2-year-olds. So that's always an easy way out. Just go buy a packet of balloons, parents. Blow a few up and let them have a field day, Your afternoon taken care of, courtesy of the 3 balloons or 4 balloons that you've blown up for the day. I want to bring in the voice of some of our listeners who are asking different questions around this conversation. Of course, you can also call in on 086 000 2032. Perhaps there are things that you would want some advice with, or maybe you're even struggling with as a parent and guardian when it comes to initiating play with your children. We'll take your WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
Hi, Cathy. This is Alfred. My grandchild likes to spend a lot of time playing with my cell phone, the games. How much time would you expect they say is reasonable for a child to spend playing on these gadgets? Because sometimes I worry that he spends too much time playing on the cell phone. All right, I'll listen on the radio. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for that question. It's a really good question because I do think that, one perhaps also wants to find a balance. I'm not sure who wants to go for it. Kaylee, Mbali, do one of you perhaps want to tackle the answer to that question?
I'm happy to answer and share. So generally what we do, because also as OTs and as people working with young children, we do also understand that technology is a big part of our lives, of our children's lives, and it's not something that we are very anti. But what we do really strive for is that sense of balance. So I would probably suggest if children are, especially younger than 5 years old, as they get older, there's obviously an increase in terms of like schooling and other things that they need to use screens and technology for. But especially in our younger children, I would try and limit screen time to 1 hour a day at a maximum. And that's just because if there is more screen time, it's taking away, especially in those foundational years, such valuable time from other skills and other things that the children could be developing just to set them up well for when they do start at school. So I think, and that is across the board. So cumulatively between being on the cell phone, playing games, watching TV, playing on the iPad, I would try and limit it to no more than 1 hour a day where possible.
Kaylee, does it matter if the child is watching educational programs or not? Because again, there's some parents who will say that, my child has learned so much. In fact, I think that was a sentiment expressed earlier on the WhatsApp line. My child has learned so much from, some of the characters, some of the programming that is available online.
Definitely, and I think there is definitely a lot of value in a lot of the more educational programs, and many of our kids, especially at that age when they are like little sponges, they take in so much through what they see, which is why I also really try and encourage parents to be conscious and intentional about what they do expose their children to during screen time. But one thing I do just want to say as well on this, and something that we often see in the clinical practice and in this clinical setting, is that, for example, we'll often come have parents say to us, no, their children are able to do puzzles on the iPad, they're able to trace letters and develop those skills, and they really are gaining so much. Whereas when we give the child maybe a pen and paper or a physical puzzle, they're not necessarily able to generalize those skills. And that is because, obviously when you are, for example, doing a puzzle or playing a game that is more educational on an iPad, yes, they're figuring out how to do the puzzle and put the pieces together, but there isn't that physical and motor element of having to pick it up, turn it and manipulate it in their hands, which obviously works a lot on those like really small finger muscles, the motor planning of it, and being able to figure it out, the trial and error and the frustration tolerance. It is a lot more easy and low demand. So yeah, I definitely think there is place for these educational games, and there is a lot of value in what they can provide. But the thing I think we really strive and advocate for is that it doesn't replace the real world play opportunities.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that contribution. We're going to take a break, and I'm back with more of your contributions.
Have you recently migrated to the new TV licenses payment website? Make sure your account stays active by registering again or resetting your password. Don't miss out on all the fantastic new features our brand new website offers. Get registered today and stay connected with us. With the new website, get your payments done quickly and hassle-free with a wide range of services. So make sure you register to take advantage of all the great client features. Visit www.tvlic.co.za today. TV licenses. Do it for the things that matter.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
All right, we're looking at the challenge of play that our children are facing and what it is that we as parents, as guardians can be doing to better facilitate our youngsters, our young children getting out there playing. It doesn't always have to be outside, but also inside. One of our listeners has sent a message. Cathy, can you guess, or just a note to our listeners, I'm going to now just bring some of the questions and feedback. We'll take it all at once and then I'll give each of you an opportunity to respond to it at the end. So this listener says, hi Cathy, can you advise us which toys can we buy for the little ones that will make them active and play outside? Note that we live in a township and our yards are very small and concrete. It's not an option to let them play outside the gate. Hence, we're always keeping our gates locked. Please help. And I think that's such a reasonable question that is being asked there by one of our listeners. I'm also going to play the WhatsApp voice notes that have come through for you.
Good morning, Cathy, and good morning to your guests. It's Fred the Trucker here in Western Cape. Cathy, on my side, I would say it's the issue of crime. Most of the parents, they rather have their children on the devices in-house, around the yard, not outside. You remember I told you, I think it was 2 years ago when I said that my son was robbed of his bicycle. Just riding the bicycle in the park or even in the streets where you live, you can't because there's too much criminals around the area. There's too much criminals all over the place.
This is Cathy. Hi. It's John in Bloemfontein. Oh my God, Cocomelon. Oh my God. Whoever came up with that thing is Cathy. Because now you're conflicted between this child crying and saying they want to watch Cocomelon, and go in tantrums, and you think, you know what, let me just give in and give them Cocomelon. I am struggling. I don't want to lie, guys. I don't want to lie. Now that the crèche was closed, this person is sleeping very late, and now it's disturbing my sleeping pattern because I have to wake up. We have to wake up and get ready, and we have to go to work. But this person, Cocomelon, guys, YouTube Cocomelon. Hi. We put ourselves in something else there as parents.
Cathy, good morning. It's Johnny Mahala from Kabarga. I hope your toddlers are doing well, those twins. I'd like to suggest that what we lovingly call technology is not technology. It's distraction, particularly when it comes to children. They're given the so-called devices far too early in their lives, and this comes down to many parents, not all, lacking vigilance. They simply want the pressure off, or not even the pressure. The parents fail to pay attention to their children's behavior, habits, and all the beautiful things that kids do. I just see it time and time again. White, black communities of any form of income. Play more raba. You can do it indoors, safe. Backyard, dust, play hopscotch. So you get the large motor movements and you get the small motor movements. It's so simple to do. Please look after your kids.
Yeah, thanks for those WhatsApp voice notes. I think all of them really raising important issues. Moraba Raba, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite childhood games. As for the cocoa melon problem, yeah, you see, if you don't put your foot down, they're going to run circles around you. But I'm going to leave you to the experts. I don't know who wants to go first. Catherine, let me give you a chance to go first, maybe.
Thanks. I think, we do realize that in our country there are risks of safety and the kids being outside, and I completely understand that. But play is not confined to only outside. Like the caller just mentioned now, you can play many games inside that also tick the boxes of developing the child physically, emotionally. Learning through play is not only physical. The child also needs to learn empathy, like we mentioned earlier, decision-making, and simple games like you could do Twister, which is a motor development game, indoors, or Jenga, hopscotch, even just building blocks. The child is using their fingers, standing up, sitting down. I think we're almost losing track of just, what type of play it is, but that play in any form is important. And that can be simple and can be done indoors, whether it's a snap game or Uno, or just, doing role play with each other. Somebody's cooking in the kitchen and the next person is baking a cake and what goes into the cake. It doesn't need to be confined or only to the outdoors. Play can take place anywhere. The most, two of the most important times with your children are actually first, sort of half an hour in the morning and the last half an hour before bed. And as simple as a story time within the comfort and safety of their own bed is so important. Being able to imagine the story coming to life and learning through that storytelling. Okay. So I think it's not to complicate it, but to simplify play.
All right. Mbali?
Yes, I think I'd like to speak on the cocoa melon season had happened quite a lot. And when we're thinking about shows like Cocoa Melon, we actually see that the scene changes happen every 2 to 3 seconds with colors, a lot of sound, and it floods the brain with a lot of sensory input. And so it's almost like you're putting our kids into fight or flight response. And that will keep you in high. And obviously
that connection to you is not great. I'm struggling to make out part of what you're saying. Let's see what can happen in the next minute. Kaylee, in the meantime, let me give you a chance to respond.
Definitely. I think, I've definitely echo a lot of what both Mbali and Cathy have shared. And I think a lot of the listeners' concerns and ideas are very, very valid, especially with regards to the safety. And I think for me, the biggest thing is that play should never be something that, your child feels unsafe doing or may potentially put your child in any danger. So, like I said, creating those safe environments, even if it is just in the house, in the small garden, there's so much value in being able to come up with ways of incorporating play into those very simple, mundane activities. And just to also echo what everyone says, I often recommend to parents, like even allowing your child to spend 10, 15 minutes playing with some of the most simple activities or objects like a cardboard box, seeing how they can come up with ways of interacting with it, whether it be making it into a race car, making it into a little kitchen. For example, playing hide and seek, hopscotch, like our listeners mentioned too. Anything that is really, really simple is often the most effective in being able to develop, especially like our child's motor planning, those creativity and imagination skills too. So, although the safety is often a concern, I think there are still so many ways that parents can still create those small opportunities in the day for their children to play.
All right. Let me thank all of our guests for coming onto the show. And Mbali, apologies. That connection to you has really not been great through the hour. And I know that there's some parents that are still wanting to understand the cocomelon phenomena. So maybe if you can send us a voice note and explain it, we might be able to play it on air for all those that are still waiting for an answer. It's now time for the latest news update.
Thank you, Cathy. On the top stories, Joburg Mayor on a quest to root out crime in the province, and ANC to convene a 4-day conference. For SAFM News, I am Ondalambana, and a very good morning. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says he will ensure that more raids are conducted at informal settlements across the city in an attempt to root out crime. This morning, an operation was conducted at the Ginger Informal Settlement in Sandton, where more than a dozen undocumented immigrants were arrested. The operation, which was led by the mayor, was focused on enforcing bylaws and dismantling illegal informal settlements in designated areas of the northern suburbs. Morero says lawlessness will not be tolerated.
We will continue to do the raids. We must see them. The thing we're doing here is to just tell the residents we are acting. We are dealing with lawlessness in Johannesburg. We're enforcing the law, bylaw enforcement, crime prevention. That's basically what we're doing, and we're going to do it. We're not going to shy away. What is critical is the court orders, which we have already prepared. We have them, and we can act in accordance to the law. We can't continue to allow lawlessness to continue in our city.
EFF leader Julius Malema has called for the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to be protected and to be elevated to the position of National Police Commissioner. Malema says Mkhwanazi has put his life on the line for the sake of the country. He says the country owes Mkhwanazi a gesture of appreciation and protection.
Mkhwanazi is a hero. For a man to go outside the established protocols to do what he did was to put his body on the line. That's what a man does. Whether you agree with him or not, it doesn't matter. But he played a very, very important role in exposing the rot, and it is our turn now. As a country, not as politicians, to deal with this matter. The country must pay a closer attention. One, that Mkhwanazi doesn't get victimized. Mkhwanazi's contract is coming to an end in December. If anything, they must advertise that post now, and then he must reapply and get reappointed again so that he can finish this tax.
The father of the slain celebrity pastry chef Dr. Kgosi Letlhaphe has welcomed the conviction of Sibusiso Zita by the Johannesburg High Court. Yesterday, the court found Zita guilty for the murder of his former girlfriend Thembekile Letlhaphe, affectionately known as the Pastry Princess. Zita pleaded guilty to stabbing Thembekile to death during an argument at their home in May 2024. Letlhaphe says his family wants the maximum punishment possible.
For me, my greatest issue is how do we prevent this? This is so painful that you don't want it to happen to somebody else. The truth is that our Thembi is not coming back, and that's between him and the state. And I just hope that all of us will find a way to move forward, find peace, remember her and honor her.
The ANC will from today convene a 4-day conference and host leadership MPLA in Angola, Frelimo in Mozambique, SWAPO in Namibia, CCM in Tanzania and ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. The gathering will be convened under the theme Defending the Liberation Gains, Advancing Integrated Socio-Economic Development, Strengthening Solidarity for a Better Africa. The party says it hopes to have a frank dialogue with other former liberation movements. ANC First Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mugonyane says it is also part of the party's renewal process.
This is a good reawakening, and people have been wishing us well. And there's also been a request for observer status throughout the continent and abroad. And the other important thing, there's also been a request to have access to our content documents. And that on its own shows an appetite to make contributions. Those who are angry, some of them are actually saying, why did it take us this long?
5 Canadian ice hockey players have been found not guilty of sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room in Ontario in 2018. The judge said she did not find the woman's evidence against the former members of Canada's junior squad to be credible or reliable. The BBC's Arutnai Mukherjee has more details.
The judge pointed to irregularities in the woman's testimony. She said that her statements reflected an uncertain memory and that it did not line up with the evidence that had been presented by the prosecution. Now, the woman's lawyer said her client was very disappointed and added that when a person summons the courage to disclose their story, it's the worst possible outcome when someone is disbelieved. Now, this woman had testified that she was intoxicated and felt fearful of the men, and they've argued that the woman did not have a motive to fabricate the story.
Recapping the top story, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says he will ensure that more raids are conducted at informal settlements across the city in an attempt to root out crime. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
Mzansi, be in it to win it. The Powerball jackpot guaranteed at 92 million rand is up for grabs this Friday. This is your chance at a life-changing 92 million rand jackpot. Don't delay. Play Powerball today and you could win big. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old to play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Spar brings you 3 days of even more from 25 to 27 July. Get 1 kg Kellogg's cornflakes, buy 2 for 120, save 50 rand. Or 200 gram Baker's Blue Label Mori biscuits, buy any 2 for 28, save 16 rand. It's 3 days of even more, 25 to 27 July, only at Spar, while stocks last.
It's season 2 and the stakes are even higher. This time, South Africa's favorite stars are back at the briefcase, playing for charities close to home and close to the heart. Big names, big hearts, big deals. Don't miss Deal or No Deal Celebrity South Africa, Saturdays at 6 p.m. on SABC1, Mzansi for sure.
These are the weekend shows on SAFM. Music of Africa with Shayla Ndikumana. The Weekend View with Bongiwe Zwane. The Jet Set Breakfast with Michelle Constant. Seasons with Khomoto KG Mwekezi. The Soundtrack of Your Life with Ernest Pillay. Weekend Sundowner Classics with Kutlwano Masote. Spotlight with Zai Khan. The Weekend with John Gerika. Shifting your lens with Bertha Charuma. This is SAFM.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
It's 10 after 11 o'clock. Welcome to the third and final hour of the show. Coming up in this hour, we're going to get into our Friday wind down. Before we do, I do want to wrap up the conversation we had within the 10 o'clock hour looking at children and play. There was a question from a parent, a distressed parent. We can consider it a distress call. Coco Melon. How do I get my kids off it? What do I need to do? So Mbali, who we lost on the line, she sent through a voice note to assist with that. So I'm going to play that voice note, and then after that, we'll get into the Friday wind down.
Just to speak on the Coco Melon situation, I think it's really key for us to remember that a child's brain, especially when they're under the age of 5, is still rapidly developing, and its capacity for sustained attention and processing information is quite vital in that time. And so shows like Coco Melon that have scene changes every 2 to 3 seconds with bright colors and constant sound actually flood the brain with sensory input. And so psychologically, it's almost like a constant fight or flight response. And that then keeps our children in a state of high arousal. Even more so, the rapid and the new stimuli triggers a lot of dopamine release in our kids' brains. And that creates a very high rewarding experience for their brain. And that can then lead to them being dependent on the show, where your child's brain becomes accustomed to that high level of stimulation, which then makes stimulating, in the real world activities so much more difficult because it feels boring or it's not the same in comparison to Coco Melon. And so that contributes to that screen addiction. And so what can really be helpful is to, remember that it's okay for our kids to be bored. Boredom and quiet time are really essential for the brain to engage in mind wandering, in reflective thought, and in incubation of creative ideas. And so, the rapidly paced content actually leaves little to no room for their internal processing, which then potentially hinders their development of imaginative play and also innovative thinking. And so what we need to do then is to also think about what can we use in that place that can stimulate them, maybe trying to find more slower TV shows or more TV shows that actually have less scene changes. So, shows like Bluey, which are they're fun to learn and they're fun to watch because they're also teaching our kids manners and teaching kids about, interacting and engaging with other kids, as opposed to the songs that just keep playing on and that stimulation. And so I would really encourage for parents to also seek to think about, as has been said by some of the other guests, think about how you can use play in the house. Imaginative play is quite good. Doing puzzles with your children is also quite amazing. And even engage in those different scenes. And so that's what I wanted to say about Coco Melon, and maybe even thinking about going back to allowing our kids to watch some of the shows that we watched when we were younger. Your Tom and Jerry's, where they don't speak and you create the dialogue in your head, which is quite different to the Tom and Jerry today. But we need to allow our kids to let their brains come up with things, to imagine what it would look like, and to also see the different facial expressions and what those kind of communicate to them about the situation that is in front of them or that they might come across in their everyday lives.
#SAFM Talking Point.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Well, where does one begin? Our next guest, a third generation lap steel and pedal steel guitarist, Best known for his unique blend of the blues, rock, funk, and gospel music. Florida based in the US and comes from a family with a rich musical heritage rooted in the sacred steel tradition. He's known for his singing guitar style, and it has gone viral globally, but also in this country. South Africans have really taken to his sound. Aubrey Gent Jr. is a multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, and producer. But of course, he's better known as AJ Gent. AJ, good morning to you.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us on the Talking Point today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, you've got to tell us, this singing guitar, we've been having a debate in the studio, and I'm comfortable to say much of it is generational. My technical directors today, they're ready to throw me under the bus because I'm going to expose them a little bit. So I am enjoying the sounds, fully immersed, and suddenly I hear a comment that says, "Oh, when is the vocalist coming in?" I'm like, why do you need a vocalist? These are the vocals.
Nah, there's no vocals.
There's no vocals, and that's part of why it's called the singing guitar, because in many ways what you do with the guitar is really what many vocalists would need to do. I mean, just in awe of your ability to play around with this instrument. Tell us about where the journey began for you.
Well, the journey began as a little boy, trying to discover what his purpose was, and I recently, within the past 5 to 6 years, discovered that the purpose was to create healing sound waves, create music that didn't have any words but had so much expression and power and singing guitar vibes. And so, as you hear within that song, it's something that allows you to close your eyes and release. And so that's where the journey began, and I'm having such a blast on it.
You speak about being able to express all of these different emotions in the music, AJ. That's not easy, but I also want you to speak to me about the influences that have fed into creating this expression. There was nothing in that song that I would have said is missing, because one, through the tempo, one can hear the build up, one can hear when it reaches, sort of the peak, the climax of the song, and then you bring it down, and somebody who's listening can't help but go along and feel the expression through every note that you're playing.
Yeah, I'm basically telling the story of my life without words, and so many times I believe that if it's like watching an individual or listening to a person to really know who they are. Sometimes you can't watch, sometimes you just listen, and so I try to relate that same message with my music. Many times it's not always about how much I can say, but how much you can feel and hear what I'm saying without the words. And so it's my life story without words, and my influence. It just comes from life. It comes from life. My family, of course, my father and my grandfather, they play lap steel guitar, and I didn't grow up around either one of them. So with the hardship of the family structure that's broken, I was able to create a moment in my life that allowed me to express all the pain or the heartache, good times and bad times. So that's basically what that is in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's interesting because you say you didn't grow up with your father, and yet here you are playing guitar today. So, where was that? Where did that exposure then to the music come from?
Well, I grew up listening to both of them, but I didn't grow up around them. So I would hear different tapes and CDs, and my desire wasn't to play at all originally. I didn't want to do anything like them, and so this moment in time, it appeared with me sitting in my bedroom as a teenager, and and essentially crying out spiritually, to why I wasn't accepted, why I wasn't loved. At least that's what I felt. And in those moments, I was given a gift. I was given an ability, and that was to make the guitar sing. And that has been with me ever since. In those moments, something happened. It something hit me, and I was able to transform the pain into power. And so, I'm here today as a healer, a sound healer, if you will, just sharing my story in song through music to help the next person.
And AJ, how old were you when you first picked up any musical instrument, and what was the first one that you were introduced to the guitar?
Well, I was about, oh my goodness, probably like 9 or 10 years old, somewhere around there. And then I was introduced to the guitar around that same age. Around that same age, I first learned uh, rhythm from drums because that's where my heartbeat is. It's the rhythm, it's the drive, and so from there, I began to pick up the instrument and just go for what I thought I knew at the time. And so, but the age of around that 10ish age is when I started messing around with it.
Yeah, and this was just informally, hey? No guidance, nobody there showing you the ropes.
No, nobody to make me do it. I literally, it was a way to bring me comfort, and peace. And so it's something that just has been with me, all my life.
We're talking to AJ Gent. He is our Friday wind down guest. He is the man with the singing guitar. We'll be bringing you more of his music. We started off there with a song titled Singing Guitar Vibes. And to steal from the youngsters, we will continue on those vibes on the other side of the latest news headlines.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines, the Ditsobotla local municipality in Lichtenburg in the northwest has cut electricity supply to several businesses, government offices and schools, citing non-payment of electricity debts. Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says he will ensure that more raids are conducted at informal settlements across the city in an attempt to root out crime, and wage talks under the facilitation of the CCMA to bring to an end strike action by fly-fair pilots will resume this afternoon. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Lewang Ramalepe right back. What lightens up my mood is music, R&B, sometimes it's Lokombo, sometimes reggae. I was good in athletics. I used to run the 800 meters. Me as a president, hey, what I would change? Unemployment and fixing the economy. To all our fans, you can watch the game on SABC Sport. We are the African champions. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. We love rating things, our phones, our cars, but our health? Your health lets you do what you love with the people you love. So who are you staying healthy for, and how can you improve your health? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding, longer life with regular health checks. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life.
Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
What is Overtrail? Is it off the beaten path, over the edge of comfort, or the thrill of the road less taken? It's over every bridge, every obstacle, every trail, and over to that view that takes your breath away. Overtrail means going further, exploring deeper, surrounded by the comfort and sophistication of a luxury SUV. It's this spirit that inspired the Overtrail project. Experience Overtrail in the LX and GX range. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Cathy Mohlahlana is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SFM Radio. The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
Good day, Cathy Mohlahlana, Luri Ranyanumba. The singing guitar, Luri Ranyanumba. Fred Kanakana. Wow. Ye, Vanna, Mutata Simula weekend temonat. What a wonderful weekend. Shay, Melody Kasebeve.
Hey Cathy, AJ Gent. First time I've heard of him. I'm 66 and I would like to ask him a question. Does he know the work of Roy Buchanan, the late Roy Buchanan, master of the Telecaster? And I would just like to say to him, brother, you're weeping and you're wailing and you're whining and your soulfulness, it touched me, man. But I would say, get a bit more dialogue with the keyboard and the bass. Let them have their moment in the light too. You hear me? Thank you, Johnny Mahalo. Gewelke.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Runners will brighten the streets of Phalaborwa during the F21 Half Marathon. It is a unique race that starts in the afternoon. Athletes confront the unkindness of the heat. This special running day honors 3 decades of endurance and unites Phalaborwa in motion. The 2025 edition promises an unforgettable experience. Catch the F21 Half Marathon on Saturday, 26 July at 1 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC2 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out, because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. SAFM, in collaboration with the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, brings you the Jazz for Young People concert happening at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July 2025. Tune in to Seasons and the Soundtrack of Your Life, broadcasting live. This unique event is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. Bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz from young musicians, curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring National School of the Arts Band, Willow Crescent Magnet School of Music Band, Biko's Manor, and many others. Have fun while doing good. Tickets are available at Quicket for just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Our Friday wind down guest this Friday morning is AJ Gent, the man with the singing guitar. And AJ would have heard some of those voice notes from our listeners, all of them really appreciating your music and really congratulating you on the sound. That's to interpret part of the first voice note that you may not have been able to fully understand. I guess you're not surprised by the fact that South Africans are responding in the way that they are. By now you know how much people on this side of the world enjoy your music.
Yes, I found out a couple years ago, and I've been appreciative ever since.
To the point where you're now also going to be coming to South Africa, AJ.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait for my feet to hit the ground, and it's going to be a beautiful time. I'm excited about it. As I'm sitting here listening, I'm getting more and more excited about it. So it's going to be a great time.
Were you surprised by the reaction of South Africans? And I wonder that, as you sit and you think about what is it that really would be drawing people to your music, at least from our country, what some of the answers you play around in your mind with are?
Well, at first I was surprised, but after a while I started understanding the purpose, and we can communicate in such a powerful way when I think we don't involve influence, if you will, too much, and we just speak from the heart. And so the music does that, and it's been a beautiful reception, just to see and hear the testimonies that it's been able to deliver and help people mentally as well as physically. So for me, it's me fulfilling my purpose, and I see it right before my eyes, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's going to be your first time in South Africa. You'll be performing on that short tour with some of South Africa's most beloved artists. That's alongside Brian Temba and Brenda Mtambo. What is it that you'll be working on with the two that people can expect from your shows?
Oh well, it's gonna be a little surprise. So I don't want to, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's definitely gonna be something that you won't be able to forget. It's what I want to bring with them is the ability to create something special, and something that can heal hearts and make you smile and make you release at the same time. So it's gonna be something beautiful.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I think many people will be looking forward to it. We had Brenda Mtambo on the show just a couple of weeks ago, and she really is one of the most beloved artists in this country, and just with such a rich and powerful sound that many South Africans appreciate. It's going to be your first time in South Africa. Will it be your first time in Africa, AJ?
It will be my first time, very first time, and I don't think I'm gonna want to leave. So, but definitely my first time.
Trust me, you probably won't want to leave. I hope you do a bit of research, ne? Don't believe the stories they tell you about lions roaming around and giraffes at airports. You might be disappointed.
Well, as you hear in my music, it's very unorthodox and different. So I'm a pretty I'm a creative person, and I'm not influenced by what's around me too much. So you don't have to worry about that one for me.
Yeah, we need to see that itinerary and make sure that it's a good balance of everything the country has to offer, so that at least we're giving you reason to come back. AJ Gent is our Friday wind down guest, and I am going to be bringing you more of his music. Just coming out of that break, out of headlines, we played you Take Me Higher, and now we bring you Change Is Gonna Come.
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Champions need motivation above and beyond winning. South Africa, show your love and support for the WAFCON defending champions by Yana. Witness the CAF Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024 from 5 to 26 July 2025 on SABC Plus, S3, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
So 4 men arrested. That is significant. Tell us more.
You'll recall Amand Swart, who was killed in April 2024. He was killed on the 17th of April 2024. And within 3 hours after his killing, Gauteng organized crime detectives then trace his killers. They find his killers, arrest them, seize the firearms that were in their possession. That include an AK-47 and 3 pistols. We immediately seize those firearms. We take them in for ballistics and so on. During December 2024, a ballistics report comes out and says the same murder weapon that was used in the Amand Swart case was also used in the DJ Somebody case, where DJ Somebody and his 2 bodyguards were shot and killed.
Police spokesperson Brigadier Atlanta Martin.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
Hi, Cathy. I feel like crying. Oh, Cathy, don't do this to me, please.
Wow, Cathy, good morning, and good morning to the gentlemen. You know, that music, Cathy, while I'm driving into Cape Town, watching the view here in Ceres, you know, I feel like I'm relaxed or I'm being massaged by the music, that guitar, it's so beautiful. Well done, Cathy, for bringing in the gentleman. The music is so nice. I'm recording, Cathy!
Hi, Cathy. Good morning. I really, really, really love your show. You are a superstar. My name is Gugu. I'm from South Africa, currently in the UK. I'm listening to this guy. Wow. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful thing to sing. Oh my God. That guitar has got all the message, all the message. Keep it up. Wow, thank you. You've made my weekend. Bye-bye.
Cathy and the SFM listener, here, Kaspi, Barakele Kope. You can even like making a show always when you start the show playing that kind of instrument. Here, Patlele here te kurleng.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. Finally, AJ Gent. We can't wait to see you, man, down here in South Africa. One of my favorite songs is the Light Within, as well as the singing guitar vibes. Those two songs are one of my favorites. So can't wait to see you when you get here. Thanks so much. This is Humphrey in Midrand.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
Our Friday wind down guest is AJ Gent. AJ, you can hear so much love for you from South Africans. I wonder if you want to respond to that quickly before I get into my next question for you.
Oh yes, I love it. I'm appreciative again, and I'm smiling, from ear to ear. So it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah, the music, I think it touches people in exactly the way that you intended when you made it. I just want to briefly talk about the role of social media, because we're seeing firsthand how it has changed the way musicians operate, and just how quickly you're able to reach corners of the world that may have been difficult before. Videos go viral. Just what role would you say that it's played in your own career, including just breaking down some of the borders or the barriers, right? Whether it's a distance barrier, whether it's a cultural barrier.
Well, for me, I've been doing this for a long time, and so it's an opportunity to be able to, allow the world to see what goes on behind mainstream music, or outside of mainstream music, if you will. Many times we don't really understand the abilities and the gifts that many people have, because it's overshadowed by popular sounds and music, and so it's a great feeling to be able to showcase that. And I'll also add, that for me, as far as breaking barriers, I was originally told, some years ago, uh, that the style of music that I'm doing would never work, and so I'm glad to see that that wasn't true, because creating music without words. It used to be, believe it or not, something that was popular, but then it became something that was a little bit more, tossed to the side. And so it's just a beautiful feeling to be able to now be who I am, and follow within that purpose and create music that actually helps people.
I guess it also takes some resistance, right? Resisting the status quo, resisting what it is that people have come to frame as the norm, and to be true to you and to what you believe is your contribution, not only to the industry, but also to the people that will sit and listen to your music.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the sounds that's created, that I create aren't traditional sounds. So if you are a person that's listening from a traditional ear, many times you probably won't understand. So you have to a lot of times step away from what you're taught and just feel what's going on, feel the vibration, feel the moment. And I think at that point, that's when you will understand what's being spoken. And so that's what I've been doing, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Well, AJ, we look forward to hosting you in South Africa later on this year. Thank you for the music. All the best, and let us know when you're in town. It'll be great to touch base with you again.
Yes, 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 will do. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
AJ Gent is our Friday wind down guest. He's the man with the singing guitar. So many of you are asking, who is AJ? Where can we find his music? You can find his music on the music app of your choice, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is that you use, you will find his music. The name is AJ Gent, and like I said, he'll be touring South Africa with some of our beloved artists later on in the year. Okay, enough from me. Let me use what's left of our time, bringing you more of these soothing guitar sounds. The show back with you again on Monday between 9 and midday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Until then, sending you all my love. Stay safe, and we'll touch base again on Monday. We continue with the singing guitar vibes too.
G'day, Cathy. Wow, that is good music. Really good music. Well done for bringing it to us. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, AJ. I'd love to hear some of your music mixed with the African talking drum. I don't know if you know what it is. They play it a bit in the Black Panther movie. Yeah, it just sounds like your guitar and that instrument would go perfectly together.